Hello, so this is just a quick video to go over how flow works. So you can see right now I already have this program set to flow. If it's not, say if you're in a pressure decay test, once you go in the settings, right here on the top, you can select your type. So I want to go to a flow test. So I select that and hit back, and now we're at flow. So when you look at the front screen, everything pretty much looks the same, except now you have a SCCM number. That's the top box because that's what your main test is going to be about. If you ordered a large flow application, you're looking at hundreds of liters, that would say SLPM instead. We can have it for either way. So now that we know we're in your flow test, you go into the settings. So you're going to set the pressure just like you do in the pressure decay test, so the tester knows how much pressure you're putting in there. That way, in case your part has like a big occlusion in it, or there's a kink in the hose, whatever the case may be, if that is the case, when you're flowing into the part, odds are you're going to have a lot higher back pressure. So when it comes back, like say we're doing 3 psi is what a good part would flow. And then you can have plus or minus, like this happens to be set at 0.5. So say your part was partially occluded, you get a lot higher than 3 psi for back pressure. So for one, the tester would see that right away and flag it and say high pressure. And if it did not go outside of those limits, then in your normal settings, you have a window of max and min flow. So here's where the screen looks a little bit different. You have your fill time and your test time. If the part is real small, you don't need much fill time. The difference is during this fill time, we open up the PD valves and the flow valves inside, so you have two ports. You're dual filling your part. So say it was a cast of some sort that had a small hole in it, but you had to get that walking cast blown up first. So you would have a few seconds of fill time to blow everything up. Once you move to the test time, now those two PD valves close. 100% of the air coming out of the test port is running across the flow sensor. So if you have a real small part or just say a piece of tubing, you can just put 0.1 seconds for fill and then get right into your test mode, so that right out of the gate you're measuring all the flow excuse me, going into your part. So vent, you don't have to have any time in there. You can basically put that to 0 because your part's you're venting the atmosphere anyway, so your part will go back down to no pressure. The fill time, it's going to have to make you put some sort of time in there. So I'm just going to put a 0.1 second in there. I'm assuming you have a real small part and you're just jumping right into flow. You don't have to fill up a bag or anything and then perform the flow test. You just want to get right into it. So say this is just like a piece of tubing or an IV set, something along the lines of that. So we jump right into test. So right here I have 3 seconds and the part will start flowing right away. So at the end of those 3 seconds, this is your window. So say a good part flows, I don't know, say 1300 cc's, and you know that it could flow up to 1500 and still be good. So you put 1500 right there. So that's your max flow, and then a minimum flow. That's up to you, but say, your good part was 1300 cc's and say 1100 is the bare minimum that part can flow, and it's still good and would never harm a patient. So right now you have 1100 for the minimum, 1500 for the top. So once you start your test, as the flow is going, you'll see the line drawn across the screen. The very top of your screen is now 1500 cc's. The very bottom of your screen is 1100. As long as that 3 seconds, as long as the line is in the middle, the tester will call it good. If it flows too much, if it gets to the end and it's above 1500, it will flag it as bad and it will say high flow. If the part is below 1100 cc's at the end of that 3 seconds, the tester will flag it as bad and say it's low flow. So that's the quick setup on your flow test. And if you have any questions, please give me a call.